Welcome back. This is wonderful to have you all here on the Just Three Gents portion of our BC WrestlePod YouTube channel, our Biconics Wrestling podcast. We have Mikey, we have the Professor, we have JVL, all here. The three gents are here to give you our impressions, opinions, and overall just musings about the latest Dynamite from Buffalo, New York on the 26th of June, or 26th of June. I think that was right. Either way, we're here to talk about last night's Dynamite. We're here to give you our opinions on it. We're here to make sure that you know that we are not giving you facts, figures, other things like that. These are all things off the top of our head because we're just a bunch of idiots who like to review wrestling on the internet and never take a break. If you've just joined us this time, thank you and welcome for coming into us with the wonderful Lovecraftian algorithm that has dragged you to us. Please like our video here. Give us a subscribe. Talk to us down in the comments. Let us know if you like what we're wearing tonight. If you like the bald look for the Professor, maybe you should put a hat back on. Does Mikey need to have sleeves or not? I don't know. Should I wear something other than an Abaddon shirt for every review I'm on? These are all great things to get us on there. If you've been with us before, same thing goes. Comment on the bottom, tell us what we like there, and also share the video around. We are trying to kind of change things up for season 2 or 3 of the BC WrestlePod here and make things even more fun. Also, you can join us on Patreon for a lot of great content coming up, and you can, of course, get on there to our Patreon to see some live reviews of the upcoming pay-per-views like Forbidden Door, which is happening very, very shortly, that we'll all be on. And this is Forbidden Door season, so folks, I'm excited to be here for it. This is when you get all those people coming across the pond to kind of lose on Dynamite and make sure that everyone can't do things well. And in general, do you get excited for this time of year, especially when there's people that are not injured?
Yeah,
or sick for that matter.
Injured, sick, as we get closer and closer, and they're just, adding matches willy-nilly. So our predictions are getting longer and longer. And 0 hour is going to be, just as long as the actual thing.
0 doesn't matter on 0 hour because it is going to be 7 hours long.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But we are so excited about this. Our predictions video will be coming out alongside this. We're going to record this right afterwards, so we're going to look the same, but we're definitely not the same. It's definitely not the same at all. But someone who doesn't look the same and yet is giving us the same energy every time is MJF. He starts us off on the show coming out there as he cuts Excalibur and the team off from their whole big selling of all the events coming up. And he doesn't get even a word in edgewise in this promo. Gentlemen, how did you feel about this opening segment, getting a bunch of different points of view in and getting a local boy over? I know it's a big question.
I really want to like this. I really wanted to like this. I liked a lot of things about this.
Yeah.
I don't know what was missing for me. There was something underneath that wasn't quite clicking. It kind of solved itself by the end. I kind of love the drama of where we were going after this, but the first chunk of this felt a little flat, probably because they were feeding off the audience because we're in Buffalo. They must have said Buffalo about 100 times leading up to this Dynamite, right? Buffalo, Daniel Garcia. I thought it was a funny nod that MJF had where it's not MJF. Somebody else has in a minute where they're talking about how you're blowing through everyone. You're beating all these guys. It's like, yeah, he's been doing squash matches for 3 weeks.
I'm very happy that you said blowing through and not just blowing everyone because that's a whole different type of wrestling.
That's a different Buffalo joke. Yeah, I know. It's kind of interesting having two New York guys wearing leather jackets that are both half size too big. There's just something about tough guy wearing big leather jackets, New York thing. I don't want to judge. I'm on the West Coast. That's not fair. But I was sort of like,
Mikey, do you feel like the Professor there where it seemed like it was missing something at the top that could have been a part of it?
I just feel that the whole entire promo, because I'm looking at this from beginning to end, this was poorly written. Like by the end of this, we got to where we're going to, but to me, this was clunky. This was kind of like certain things that need to happen. Like we had MJF 5 minutes shilling, like telling us like what to expect upcoming for the next like week or so, like literally doing the salesman pitch in the middle of this promo.
Well, and that's MJF, right? I don't mind the overselling and the shilling of his stuff.
No.
This one just came off really arbitrary, right?
Yeah, because MJF has done it before, and usually I don't mind it, but from beginning to end, the whole entire thing was really clunky. It felt directionless for the first third of it. People were stumbling over words. Will Ospreay, I love you, but like he came in at the wrong time. I mean, he came in at the right time for what we're setting up, but It was just very awkward. The exchange between Garcia was trying. And normally Garcia's pretty good on the mic.
Yeah.
This one, it was like, yeah, something's not adding up here.
Well, and Professor, to dive into Ospreay being there as well, do you feel like this was a good turn toward him offering another match to him without having won the title to be that cocky person, or did this need to be a whole big thing like that?
I don't think it needed to be this big a thing, because out of nowhere it was, hey, Daniel, we all like you. You're doing a good job. You know what I think? Out of nowhere, after we had kind of forgotten and buried Daniel Garcia. So I'm not sure if we were just sort of playing to Buffalo, or if they genuinely feel that way about Daniel Garcia. And if they genuinely felt that way about Daniel Garcia, why have they treated Daniel Garcia this way for the last 2 years? I know he was hurt and was away for a while. I know he's just coming back. Something felt off to me. I do think Will Ospreay, when he came in, redirected this whole thing, and we kind of pivoted to something that made sense. And as actor, director, now something's at stake sort of thing. I do think commentary kind of had to push it and be like, oh, look, he's overshadowing MJF. He kind of stole the thunder from MJF there to try and really make us realize, oh, that's why he's feeling sad and mopey, is because Will Ospreay took the thunder of the thing and the thing. But MJF and Daniel Garcia were never really... They tried to do too much. And I don't fault them for that. I don't fault them for taking the risk. I think the second half of this was stronger. I think Will Ospreay kind of saved it. I'm still interested in watching. I don't know what was missing. I can't quite speak to it.
And Mikey, do you feel that was a good storyline as well to go down with, showing MJF not having his spot left in the company? He's got to work his way back or take it that way?
I think it accomplished this, and I think it does accomplish what I've been wanting from Dynamite the last couple of weeks, because once Forbidden Door is over, we have a small breather because there's no AEW pay-per-view in July, because the next one, all right then, the next pay-per-view for AEW is the Wembley show at the end of August. So we literally have 2 whole months, but you have that build towards Blood and Guts, which is like the summer special right now. I mean, summer has all the specials. We're getting spring. We're getting, is it spring break again? Yeah, spring break in next week. I don't know.
Or Bash at the Beach or something. There's a bunch of stuff that's out there.
They're in spring break now?
I believe it's Bash at the Beach is probably what they're talking about, if anything else. Or like it's Hog Wild. Oh, no, wait, that's WCW. It doesn't matter anyways. We are literally jam-packed for the next month of stuff.
Exactly. You're teasing Will and MJF the last 2 weeks. Daniel Garcia is fighting Will for the International Championship next week, which is all fine and dandy.
I think
again, because we still have Rampage and Collision, but I'm also like, MJF, don't you have a match against Echiseto like this upcoming Sunday? I was like, are we not going to build to that? Okay, that's fine.
No, this came off as petty.
Yeah.
This is petty. And they tried to make it seem like you disrespected me over this petty, we're doing this title thing instead of this thing. I like you because of this thing. And then they did it like a junior high, I'm petty, he likes you better, okay, fine, mopey thing. And we're better than that. Especially the way this kind of got tied up. Will Ospreay shows up, he stays confident, he leaves, and Daniel Garcia and MJF are both kind of, that could have gone better, with each other. And I'm like, you're tougher than that. You just went through the whole Adam Cole thing. And MJF, I think going back to the well with MJF going, I don't need friends, I don't want any friends. Maybe I'll make a friend. No, you're not going to be my friend either. Fine. I think that's starting to play a little old. Maybe that's what I'm feeling.
Well, and you're setting up this whole entire thing also to drag Swerve into the whole vortex of this as well, as he has his retort promo right afterwards.
Right.
And in general, I agree with you on that. Do you feel like even just having Swerve retort to Ospreay about that was needed at this point, because you were getting the thing at the end of the night anyways?
I think that promo went as well as it could have gone based on the 13 minutes they got. Yeah, they got 15 minutes for this.
Right.
So Swerve sort of, I'm going to respond with bullet points because I just had to sit through 15 minutes of this.
But of course, he did watch the TV like a human being, unlike in WWE, which is great. And Mikey, tell me you were watching Nana and seeing all of his reactions in the background, him being the best part of this entire thing.
Nana is the best hype person in any company right now. I love him. Shout out, go support Hit Nana Coffee. Like, honestly.
Nana's just sitting there drinking his own coffee.
I love the product placement. It's fantastic. Honestly, I feel that we didn't even need the Swerve promo. Once, fast forwarding to how the show ended, I was like, this wasn't even needed. Because I feel that Swerve is really good on the mic. But my favorite thing about Swerve, as his current character goes, is that sometimes he doesn't even need to speak. He just lets his actions kind of like speak volumes. And how the show ended this week, I was just like, we could have did all that without the promo and it still would have, had the same impact.
So the resignation was there.
Exactly. Right. Like, he had this promo and then we didn't see him until like an hour and a half later.
Yeah, it was filling a place in the card, which we didn't need, because this is a jam-packed Dynamite, because we jump right to our first real match of the evening, where BCC's taking on LIJ, and, you get that kind of square up, like, where Danielson's not part of this, he's not going to be part of the three-way there, but Takagi's in there, and we get, at least Danielson on commentary, but I don't know, like, did you either of you feel that we've seen this kind of pairing before in some weird way, or this is the same type of match that BCC has in general before we got to the ending, which was a rarity in AEW?
I mean,
we've seen this for like the last year with BCC, right? Like, anytime it's a new tag team from another country or organization, they go through BCC to kind of welcome them. Which could be because they have the rep and they've worked with, I don't know, everybody in the world.
But at the same time, we just had this exact same thing where for a little bit, it was, BCC had to go down to CMLL's house for that match. They lost there, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they lost in CMLL. So, but now we're running it back again, just substituting CMLL talent for New Japan talent.
We're not ripping masks off, so that's nice.
Not yet.
I mean,
they got close with this one because, they did have one masked luchador in there, but
it's probably going to happen over the weekend, but we'll see.
The biggest thing to take from this, as much as it was kind of that match, there were two things that were brought up, which was one, Takagi doing the hammer and anvil elbows to Yuta after he's just come back from a major concussion injury, and Danielson facing off with him. But also, this is the big thing I wanted to bring up here. I think we're spoiled as fans of AEW because we don't see a DQ finish all that often. This is a very big rarity in AEW. And so do you feel like it serves the narrative in that respect because they can actually use it sparingly, unlike some other companies? Or is this still a tired trope, even though we don't get it that much?
That's a great question. I'm so not used to DQ finishes because they just don't happen.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like, boom, chair. That's okay. It's that Robin Williams joke about TSA and getting on the plane, what it used to be like before the TSA, where it's like, oh, you got a gun? Get on the plane. Oh, you have a knife? Get on the plane. Oh, you have this? Get on the plane. Like, you can do anything you want. You don't get DQ'd. And all of a sudden, this was a DQ. Like, what? Oh, that's what we're doing? But I think that it fed the wrestlers' frustrations of, what do you mean it's a DQ? You never DQ me. Well, this time it is. What? And then we get what happens after.
Which I think you get to watch DQs all the time, so you're probably a little more involved in this because you're watching the other product.
Surprisingly, we haven't had a DQ in WWE for a little. Well, no, I take that back. We saw it on Friday, but that DQ, I was like,
good joke. I was like, wait, we just had.
We had a DQ on SmackDown, but it served a greater purpose because we got the debut of Jacob Fatu, which makes total sense. Now, as far as this one, I think this was perfect because Mox is like, oh, okay, so we're going to be at a stalemate. So let me just finish this match while also being disrespectful because these are Naito's boys in the ring too.
Right. Yeah.
Like, because they're all part of the same faction. And he's like, let me just be disrespectful. Let me hit Hiromu Takahashi with this chair real quick.
Go ahead. Sorry.
And then once that happens, that was the bat signal for Naito to come on out. It took him a little bit to get there.
He could not get his pants off, okay? He just had a whole thing.
So that's his thing, right? Is making you wait, right?
So good.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought so. And I was watching this like, this is hilarious. The crowd did not get it. I thought it was hysterical once I realized what the joke was. Is because the shirt is like, I'm going to make you wait. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
Naito always does these things since his character shifted like 6 or 7 years ago?
After his third concussion,
Yeah, the dude. The guy looks like an anime magician. Like he's just walked out to open.
I love me some Naito, but you can
He
tell
wants to be in one piece, is what basically it is.
He's not working Vegas. He's working Reno, and he's probably got the midnight show.
You're giving him too much credit. Like, I don't think he's making Reno. He's working the San Jose airport, is what he's working.
Oh my gosh! But I love that we got the brawl between Mox and Naito because they have their match. And again, as you mentioned, JVL, you have Shingo Takagi beating up Wheeler, and then Danielson comes in for the save, and they have that stare down. I was just like, this match is gonna eat. I'm so excited.
Yeah. He's still wearing his pants. His pants are wrapped around his.
They don't come off.
He didn't even
He
get
tried.
them.
So good.
He tried so hard.
How does one use these breakaway pants?
Claudio and Hiromu just like bam. They're like they were nowhere to be found.
They probably went in the back and go got a drink of like something.
They went to go
Gatorade
get
or
a
something in the back.
sandwich.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go to catering because they also knew they had to clear out quickly because they had another match coming up that was for the Owen Hart Cup final there as Jay White's taking on Rey Fenix with soon-to-be WWE wrestler Penta Saramieto because he.
Is it true? Is it true?
Not true yet.
No, he clarified in a interview a couple days ago that he's.
But he played it really vague.
He played it really vague, but he says that he's not going anywhere else. He will most likely re-sign with AEW, and I'm like, you know what? That's fair.
Get your money. Do what you can there. I do have to ask you both on this match though specifically. We've seen this as a trope in a lot of the Bang Bang Gang matches lately, where the referee is just sending everyone back to the back because they're probably hearing the complaints that Jay White hasn't been carrying himself. He's just relying on that too much. Do you feel like it's still a good trope for that as well, or do you feel like this would have been more fun with like 18,000 people at ringside?
I love it. I think it's great. I think it gives the ref power. It gives us that illusion of competition, which we need for these stories to actually work. I think wrestling and it's over. I don't want to talk about the refs. I'm not that kind of sports guy. But when we're looking at the theater of this and the storyline of this, you absolutely have to have the ref play a role in some way. And I think when you overlook that and you get too spot fest, you get too this, and you overlook that too much, then why am I watching? If you can't DQ me at any time, if you can't kick somebody out, if you can't call down for this or call it, like, there's got to be a little bit of that pillar. You got to lean on that a little bit. So we've seen it more and more the last few months. I think it's great. What's hard is it doesn't have the same cachet as, the NFL or NBA, where you poke a ref or you yell at a ref and they can tee you up or they can give you some kind of penalty. We're going to fine you. You're going to kayfabe fine me for yelling at a ref in a ring. I wish there was a little more power there, but I don't know how you solve that or if you need to. But I love it. I think it's great. I think it kept us from being a massive cluster bleep, right? This would have just been madness.
Yeah, Mikey, talk to me about having that kind of clean ring to watch Jay White work with Rey Fenix.
I think I find it interesting because I believe every men's match that we had so far, they mostly banned people from ringside, which I was like, the Bang Bang Gang is about to get involved, so why didn't we handle that to begin with? But still, I love me a good throwing out, people visual. It's fantastic. And then once it was just Jay and Rey in the ring by themselves, they put on, what I expect them to do. They put on a really great match. That finishing combo with Rey jumping into the switchblade, I was just like, oh, this feast for the eyes, for sure.
Jay, I seem to always forget, Jay's chops are like trying to go straight through the rib cage and the collarbone. Every time it lands, it's like, oh, woof. Oh my god.
Mortal Kombat style.
Finish him. Yeah, I love the ending sequence of this. That DDT that Rey took right on the crown of the head.
No.
Whoa, I've seen luchas do that because they can get their legs perfectly straight and go boom and kind of go up and over. Scary looking, but awesome sell. It was a fun match. This was fun to watch.
I'm so excited for Jay White to go up against the wild card because, listen, I love Jeff Jarrett. I'm like, you are not winning this match next week.
So who... I don't want to wax poetic on that. You already know who it is. How do you already know who it is?
Oh, to me, it's the easiest guess here.
Oh yeah, no, it's the easiest guess from the. We'll talk about it when we get there. There is a clue in the EVP's promo about it that will make sense.
Did they sign Goldberg to AEW?
Yes, it is Goldberg. It is.
Dang, how did you know?
75-year-old Goldberg who's going to mule kick Jeff Jarrett in the head
to
sell to Bret Hart. It'll be wonderful. Speaking of elder statesmen, though, of wrestling that we have coming up, Christian Cage and the Patriarchy make their way down afterwards as the Bang Bang Gang is celebrating, eyeing those trios titles. Is this what we're reduced to with the Patriarchy now when they want their back scratch is to go for the trios titles?
Well, I think this is just a temporary feud because, we actually have number one contenders for those trios championships. But those plans kind of got put on pause because Buddy Matthews went to go get married to Mommy. Congratulations to them, by the way.
Big congratulations to them.
Congratulations.
It should have been me. Just kidding. But no, in all seriousness, congratulations to both Rhea Ripley and Buddy Matthews. I love them. They're such dorks. They're so fantastic. I love them.
I'm going to say this, and may or may not be appropriate. And I'm going to say this as nicely as I can without getting demonetized as you make a note to cut this out.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah.
Nah, keep it in.
So Christian's leaving, Mama Wayne's walking behind, she's going uphill in heels, and there's just enough shot of, we're watching her walk away, and it cuts back to all four of them leaning out the ropes as she's walking and leaving.
Yeah, Juice Robinson do it. Yeah,
Juice I'm just looking up the and it's like all four of them lean forward.
I was just waiting. This is literally like I was waiting for the eyes to be, Wile E. Coyote style tongue auga sound
that old
effects.
big bad wolf.
Auga.
Yeah, right. Tongue falls out of the mouth. Mayday. Yeah.
Juice is out of control. Like he literally was like trying to do things to the trophy at the start of the entrance. Like I was like, what is happening?
But I mean, Mama Wayne being a older woman,
Amazon of a woman,
and being gorgeous and selling it, fantastic. I'm happy for her. I'm glad she's doing it.
She's a lovely person.
Yeah,
she really is. Two people that are not lovely, both in kayfabe and sometimes also maybe not in their things.
Your segue's on point today.
I'm trying my best. We had the EVPs pop back up to give us a state of the what's going on for the show at that point.
And to plug their shoes.
They plug their shoes, but they also talk about the wild card they're picking to go up against Jeff Jarrett, who's going to ride in on his horse and take Jeff Jarrett down. It's laid out for you right there, John. It's going to be Brian Keith. We all know. No, I'm just kidding. So
this is Hangman Page coded so much.
It can't be that easy, though.
It is that easy.
But it is that easy.
Yo, we're going to get Swerve versus Hangman at Wembley. That's the road we're building right now.
Why can't it be anybody else on a horse?
Who else is on a horse?
Anyone, just put them on said horse. And
come on.
We're not doing Cowboy Bret Hart, okay? It's not happening.
Professor, you don't like that we're going to get Swerve versus Hangman 3?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they made it too easy to guess.
But it's really the only logical choice. Who else would they bring in the men's division that is
Put
out?
Dusty Rhodes on a horse, a half red painted
Dusty
horse.
Rhodes is dead. Dusty Rhodes is dead.
Okay.
Jack Perry killed him to qualify for that
Throw him on
match.
a horse. Make him a four horseman. He's Pestilence now.
He's the Dust Rider.
No, but I'm excited. This is definitely. I will be very surprised if they, pull a bait and switch and it's not Hangman Page. But come on, there's no other. Logically, to me, there's no other person but Hangman Page that fits.
And it doesn't disappoint me. It just they played their hand. They've just played the hand too much,
which is not out of character for what they've been doing with everything else. They've been very upfront with how on the nose everything has been. So it's good to have that there and at least be consistent, which is not something I can say for the rebuttal promo we had from the Acclaimed as they came out to respond to this, that they're going to be taking the EVP's titles.
This had nothing to do with what the Young Bucks were telling us backstage. Yeah. This was so disjointed of how we connected these two. I was like, dang, the Bucks pulled double duty. They were backstage, and then they popped up on the stage. Look, I love the Acclaimed. I want them to be tag champs again at some point because I still feel that those titles were taken off them way too early in their run.
Yes, absolutely
which
agree.
Is my biggest critique. But this promo is the same thing that we heard last week and the week before. And they're basically like the young, word that has to be censored.
Yeah, but that Mikey, that is up until we had the announcement of what's going to be happening in the Forbidden Door. And Professor, I've got to ask you, now that I'm thinking about it, someone riding to their horse, Horseshoe Tanahashi would have been amazing to get it for that type of thing.
What if that's the wild card? What I mean, you could do so many things. Just horse someone, put him on a horse. It could be anybody.
But
Anyone.
we have. So I have to ask this for both of you though. Does it make sense to have Billy Gunn pull back to allow Hiromi Tanahashi to take on this and like actually be part of their team with the Acclaimed against?
We need to pay our respects. It is President
Yes,
Tanahashi.
President Ace.
The
I also love the name of
Scissor
name of the
Ace.
team is Scissor Ace. Yep.
Scissor
And also,
Ace.
we have to get back to you got your bitch line of the night from Okada. Scissor me, bitches.
It didn't pop. The crowd was kind of dead for that one. It's like, y'all suck.
Yeah, they
That's
do.
a tough.
That was
I
a
don't
tough
like
one,
talking-
though.
I don't want to talk about the crowd. I don't want to give it too much time. This was a tough crowd.
It's Buffalo, New York.
They liked Daniel Garcia. They loved Will Ospreay. They were meh about everything else until the last, 15 minutes they came back. There's two other reviews and some of the things I was reading and looking at today. A lot of folks think that it was because the fans in Buffalo probably didn't know the names or the history of any of the Japanese talent, which is possible. But even them, there's folks and they know the names of these people and they just did not react or care.
I mean, it's that simple. You have these, and everybody
Well, yeah.
has these at some point. So it's like,
But like,
Google.
there's a few matches we'll get into, but they
I don't
didn't
know
care.
how to spell Tanahashi.
That's unfortunate, but
I want to go back to that question though. Like, does this make sense story wise to have Billy Gunn back off to put Tanahashi in just for Forbidden Door?
No, because
really.
I feel like the Acclaimed and Tanahashi are going to lose.
Oh, they're going to.
They're going to lose, but then it will make Bucks and Acclaim 1-1. So whenever we get the tag title match, it'll be like, all right, no, not really.
Well, then do you feel it's going to be Okada pinning Tanahashi?
That'd be kind of epic, though. I'm not gonna lie, but that's because we are aware of the New Japan history between Okada and Tanahashi. Like one of, if not like top 5 feuds of New Japan in the last like 10 years or so. Like honestly, but
It truly is.
I'm excited for the match. Again, that's because I know the history with any of the New Japan, and then also doing my research with the CMLL talent that's being participating in Forbidden Door 2, as well as our lovely Stardom girls, which I'm super excited about to talk about later.
Oh yes, there's a ton going on.
But yeah, this was a lot. But hey, you know what? I kind of wish that the tag match for the titles and the Continental Championship were on the line at Forbidden Door. But it makes sense because almost every other title is up. Well, not even almost every other title is up for grabs, but you have a good chunk of your titles up for grabs.
And Professor, I mean, Billy Gunn, superfluous at this point, or just like he's being his own thing?
what are they doing with him? Like,
Yeah.
he was in the ring not too long ago, so I don't think he's hurt or he's winding down. I don't think that at all.
No.
I'm sure he wants to be there in some capacity because his sons are there, so he's trying to be supportive in some way. I don't know what it just feels like he is choosing to step away a little, even though he's in immaculate shape and can still go at any time. I'm not sure.
I mean, steroids will do that to you, but still.
They catch up to you. I think
Allegedly.
it's allegedly. Your heart's the size of a watermelon. I never take nothing. I think that
Wait till it's the size of a baby giraffe.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
now it's on our radar. Now we've all clocked it like, interesting. That means
Yeah.
something.
Just like it means something to get our weekly unhinged promo from the conglomeration.
Yes.
Kyle O'Reilly taking us to school and getting schooled by Mark Briscoe. I don't know. Did you two love this as much as most of the people
Called
in the
Zack
building?
Sabre
did?
Jr. Peppa Pig.
It's so good. It's so good.
I was like, oh
The
god.
madness the first one they did of these is still on my list for promos of the year to look at, and they've just been funny and funny. Him just glaring at the camera, not blinking, while everyone else is talking is just so funny. Just I'm awake
I
and
need,
nothing else.
I want Kyle O'Reilly to fall under the tutelage of Mark Briscoe. I want this to
think
be an
he is,
official
though. I
trio.
think he
Let this be a
is.
trio for reals. Like, and then Renee is just there, like a part of it by osmosis.
Man,
Oh.
this one Renee's used to it now, so she's not breaking or she's still sticking with it a little bit.
Nah,
They're also
Kyle's-
not. They've reined it in just enough to not mess with each other, because they might be like, hey, we gotta get this done, we gotta get this done, we gotta get this done. But I kind of want the manic energy back. We'll see. I kind of want it to go crazy again.
I need Mark
energy.
Briscoe. Yeah, I need Mark Briscoe and Sami Zayn to have like a conversation in promo style, like especially when we had Sami Zayn in the Bloodline just cracking up everybody. I was just like, that would be the best thing ever.
We will have Mark Briscoe going on and breaking people all through the rest of the year. It's going to be a thing he's going to pull up there. But manic energy was not only to this promo itself. We also had weird manic energy in the next match as we had Toni Storm brought to the ring by Mariah May, who then ran back up the ramp to bring in Mina Shirakawa with Mariah May.
They did the whole Club Venus dance. I was so happy.
It was very good. And they were taking on the Outcasts. This seemed like a filler match just to get some things over and get the storyline at the end over where Mariah May died in the ring.
Yo, Nina necked her.
What did this match even mean anything to either of you? Was there any like investment in it, or was it just trying to get to the storyline for you that could have been a promo?
Should we? Well, we could talk about the match quickly. Solid match, fun, some great spots in there.
Harley Cameron doing so much better than she ever has in the last couple of weeks.
Incredible stuff.
She's been picking up a lot.
I love the tension of who do I tag, who don't I tag. I love the tension of when do we work together and when do we not. I like this.
She's mine. Yeah.
Outcasts 2.5, wherever we're at now with the updates of the Outcasts.
It's actually Pathfinder 2.0. It's either way. Yeah.
Oh no, are we in Pathfinder?
Okay, so now that you're doing that,
I thought this match great. The murder at the end, when as a fight choreographer, as someone who had to take a bottle breaking class, when you're using the champagne bottle ones to break, you do have to kind of hit them with it.
Yeah.
You can't do it like the bottle where you can swing through and you can make it safe or whatever else.
It's structurally pretty sound.
So, and those champagne bottles, for those of you who want to know the prop nerd of it, cost, I don't know, $150 to $200 per bottle because it shatters a certain way, it looks a certain way. That's why it had that lovely pop sound that everybody went, oh, when it hit. And it was terrifying. Nobody expected it, really. And you saw this coming in slow motion. And I think it sold beautifully. I think it worked better than if it was just a promo and we saw 30 seconds of murder. We actually got to see this unfold in the ring and the aftermath of the thing. I thought that really worked. There's a moment there where I think she's genuinely scared and concerned for Mariah's safety because it worked a little too well. And Toni Storm had to knock her back into it and go, hey, boom, and start the promo again, and then kicked her back into it, and the ref kind of got her, and they kept going. It seemed like she got a little in her headspace of, did I really kill her?
Mariah was selling very well because
Mariah
just wasn't moving.
Boom, limp.
I'm telling you, man, those Stardom girls know how to sell.
So,
yeah, you've said it for years, Mikey.
I love it. I think it gives us somewhere to go. I love proper use of stage combat props. That makes me happy. Yeah, I'm not going to talk it to death. That was right.
Mikey, are you torn right now? Where is your loyalty with this whole thing?
I'm torn, like Mariah May. I don't know how to feel. I don't know who to pick. I will say, though, this is the best story feud that we have going into Forbidden Door between all the matches that we have.
I would agree.
Forbidden Door. This is the best one. Like, I love Swerve. I love Will Ospreay, but they've been kind of like continuing to dance around in circles until
No, that was the old promo we saw. That was like an old video of them from like 10 years ago. It's not that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But anyways, this is the best story that we have going into Forbidden Door. And my expectation, this is like my most one, if not my most anticipated match, like in the top 2, top 3 of all the matches that we're getting for Forbidden Door. I'm looking forward to this one. I will, however, be very upset. Tonith Khan, you need to give these women more, like 15 or more minutes. Like, you cannot have this story only go 10 minutes like you have for every other women's match that we've gotten so far this year.
If this opens Forbidden Door and it's 7 minutes long, I'm gonna
mad.
be pissed.
I'm shutting it off at that point. We all will quit the live stream and do something else.
I think we're done. If they do that, that would be like, no. What do you?
And I don't know whether you both feel this as well, because as we move on to that, we get 2 promos back to back by Mercedes Moné with the video promo and then her live promo. Was this the part of the hour again where we have all the women's stuff at once and we can't have more than one video or one match of women at all? Like, How did you feel about them shoving this in here because they have to build to it without any matches?
Well, the
So
funny thing. Go ahead.
And we're both. I'll say this, and
You
I'll
wanted
see.
to.
I'll see what you do. You wanted to. Sorry, we're bleeding in product. I feel like there is someone in charge of women's creative and everyone else creative, and whoever's calling
I
the
think
shots
you're giving them too
of-
much credit.
of women's creative, either they care or they don't, but they go, all right, great, you get 20 minutes, go ahead. And they kind of silo it into that 20-minute block, right? Because that's what it's been for the last, at least since the new year, is kind of what it feels like. Every now and then they'll flip a match around, but it looks like that's kind of because of this timing thing or that timing thing, or Willow won, make her promo at the top, or whatever. Mercedes Moné is much better on the mic, and I'm wondering why she's not showing it anymore.
We've talked about this theory, John. You know why we've talked about that. And Mikey, I think you agree with me that she's unleashed by herself.
Well, and she's kind of just holding this. This is a filler feud, which is unfortunate because Stephanie is very talented. And
Oh, yes.
especially after seeing her match at Fantastic Mania Mexico, like this past weekend, like literally I was just like, see, now AEW won't let her, but I want to root for Stephanie. I really, really do. But, you know, they're not going to divert from the plan that they had when they created the strong belt. They're going to put it on Mercedes because that was the original plan before she got hurt in her match against Willow for that title. So it's very interesting with the video because we literally saw this last week. Last week.
Yeah, there's
Right.
no changes.
There's
Yeah.
no changes. I would have rather seen them do another recap like they did where they showed like Mercedes being super disrespectful and coming to Stephanie's house in La Catedral, which is the name of the arena for CMLL.
Oh, she would be too afraid to do that. So
Like, replay that video package because they brawled and that was really, really good, which hyped me up for this match. And then when we cut to the live promo, I'm just like, again, it was really nice that we finally had them come to blows, but, you know, because most people won't go out of their way to watch CMLL and watch that brawl. It's literally on YouTube, you guys. It's not that hard to find. But
right, and I think we all need to go watch that afterwards. So please check that out, and check out our reviews also of CMLL here on the channel because we've just started doing that, and it's a lot of fun with the folks involved.
But my whole critique of this whole feud is that it's all, they barely just came to blows at that CMLL show, but you didn't show it. They have one more opportunity to show a brawl between the two because Mercedes, in her live backstage promo, says that she's going to be watching because Stephanie has a match on Collision this Saturday against Lady Frost. So she'll be there to scout her out and watch her. If those two do not come to blows, that is a missed opportunity because American audiences are like, again, you set up this feud. I'm very interested, but that's because I know all the players involved in this. But I'm looking at the lens of a casual viewer, of somebody who doesn't have this background knowledge, this background history of Stephanie or the company that she comes from, but only watches AEW and only knows what they see on Dynamite and whatnot.
It's almost as if you do your homework and set people up for success that would actually do better for them, but obviously you just want folks to see it when it happens, which drives people angry. Honestly, I would spend the next little part of this entire night Googling all that stuff about it than rather than watch the Learning Tree
Oh my God.
give their promo and get completely owned by Murder Princess.
They got owned by Murder Princess. They got owned by Google Translate.
Yes, they did.
I don't think we need to spend too much on time on this. They're trying to
I
get.
hope Brian Keith is not actually injured because I would be so bummed out. He's like, or it was a play. He intentionally injured himself. He's like, I want out of this.
Yeah, I think it's a sell. I don't think it's a real injury. I will say that Chris Jericho does put everything he can behind that slap to Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe just eats it.
I rolled my eyes so
Bam!
hard
Like,
when Jericho said the
Ugh.
thing that Cody said earlier in the week.
Yes.
I was just like, STF you, bro. Shut up.
It's so glad that he reads X all the time, but what Mikey's alluding to is there was a retort to Cody Rhodes talking about people putting people over. Then Jericho talks about the fact since Brian Keith is hurt that they're going to have another partner at Forbidden Door, and they haven't watched the video response of it, and we get the response of, Minoru Suzuki does not want to be his partner. He wants to beat him for the FTW title. How the mighty have fallen. Do you feel like this is a good use of Murder Princess, or that this is just more comedy?
No. What they should have did is make it a tag team match: Jericho and Big Bill versus Minoru Suzuki and Maki Ito. Like, that's the match I would have seen. Like, give me that comedy match. I would be so here for it.
Comedy match would be great. Suzuki's not going to go out and look weak, though. Suzuki's not going to show up and go, oh, let's do this tree thing and let's make this no. If this is FTW and we're going to do something crazy, I feel like he's going to do something crazy. I don't know what, I don't know how.
Crazier than Big Bill dancing to all the talking about the leaves and stuff like that and being a complete and utter dork.
Yeah, but it's so bad. It's perfect. It's
Professor,
so bad.
don't you dare.
When he did branches, and he goes, like, we're branches. It's like, you don't know what you're doing. It's perfect. He's the only one that's figured it out. I really hope Murder Grandpa just shows up and they go full murder. Suzuki, now that I know I was watching Suzuki when I was a kid in K1 and Pancrase, please Suzuki show up and just let's go full blood and guts. Fold him in half. Whether or not you win the title, I don't care, but
Let's move away from the learning tree, though. Let's get out from under the branches so it doesn't fall on us and make sure that we can actually take in some amazing spectacle, because my match of the night was next. I don't know about you two. We had Zack Sabre Jr. and Kyle O'Reilly twisting the crap out of each other.
Oh, so beautiful.
Gentlemen, just go over what it felt like to watch a mat masterpiece on the middle of a Dynamite.
This is what you show people who want to get into wrestling. Like, if someone was like, I want to be a professional wrestler, this is the kind of match you can show them. You can show them promos, you can do history, you can say, here's how it works, and here are the icons. This is a 9-to-5 working class. Folks are doing matches like this every weekend in gyms across America or in YMCAs or wherever they can get a space, veterans memorial halls, or in parking lots in front of comic book shops. So talented. They know each other so well. And some of these spots they're calling quick. Some of these they're just feeling and flowing and this thing and that thing and whatever else, to the point where commentary wasn't talking. Orange Cassidy was there, and there's a whole lot of spectacle about it, which we don't have to talk about. They kept trying to get Orange Cassidy to talk, and at one point he was like, you know what, I don't talk, I watch things like this. There was a subtle nod to be like, hey, STF, I'm watching this. Great match, like, and not flashy and not yelly and no soap opera here, just two wrestlers doing it. I thought it was great.
Mikey, your take on this match?
This is exactly what I wanted. You have Kyle O'Reilly, and in my opinion, this generation of wrestlers, Danielson, like Daniel Bryanson, Bryan Danielson, like I guess
son.
Like, Zack Sabre Jr. is this generation's Danielson. Like, this is the technical master, in my opinion, and I will take no argument against it. But you have Kyle O'Reilly, who's also a really good, more grounded base wrestler. And then you have the two go at it. This was beautiful. My only thing that I was like, I wish it was longer, but we have a rest of the show we got to get through. I will say I love the subtle touch with Orange, like, not saying much, because he's literally watching his opponent, who he's going to be facing at Forbidden Door. And the last two times that Zack and Orange have fought at Forbidden Door, Orange has been the one to, leave as the champ and the winner. I think this is the time for Zack to finally even the score. The only big problem I had is the clunkiness of post-match, with everybody getting in the ring, because, well, first and foremost, randomly have Gabe Kidd chilling with Roddy and, the Kingdom. I'm just like, you mean to tell me we couldn't get Gabe Kidd a match on this card somewhere? Where was Jeff Cobb too? That's the other thing that made me mad. You literally could have had Jeff Cobb, like, Samoan drop all peoples, like. But instead you have the Mighty Don't Kneel, TMDK come out to back up Zack Sabre Jr. after he beats up Kyle O'Reilly. The Kingdom come out to check on Kyle O'Reilly with Roddy. Orange
and then
has no
Ishii comes out.
Ishii, the Stone Pitbull of New Japan,
Dude.
The Chaos stablemate before Orange comes in. I'm just putting it out there. Like, I think it's either on Collision or Rampage. Orange and Ishii are gonna be fighting. I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be good. They're gonna run through. They're gonna run through.
I don't know reputations or backstage or whatever, but I would be terrified of that man.
Again, he's the Stone Pitbull. Like,
Ishii just looks like he would just put a hole in your chest and keep on walking. Just
watch.
Yeah, he's
matches
amazing.
The last 2 years, like,
a crazy, awesome matches. Yeah,
so
Very
good.
much so. But we're not done yet. That was an amazing penultimate match. We get to our main event. The two warring parties that are going to be going for that title at Forbidden Door up against the Gates of Agony. And I don't know, was this a work to you two that took them a little while to gel, or was this actually them having trouble finding the team dynamics to beat these two? Because it seemed like it took longer than usual to get Swerve and Ospreay on the same page, and not in a good way.
I took it as a work because they worked together so well. They had to work to not work together so well.
Okay.
They had to show us how they can't be a tag team. If they were a tag team, if they were, who knows what the name would be. Whatever the name is, they would be one of the greatest. Chocolate Vanilla Swirl. They would be one of the greatest tag teams of all time. These two. If they were on the same page, riffing how they could riff and working together like we know they could, you saw it here. There's moments where Swerve's just, I'm going to stand here and watch you do something. And Ospreay does it. And then Ospreay goes, I'm going to watch you do something. And then Swerve does it. So I think they had to work out. Because what was great is when Ospreay throws that kick and Swerve catches it. Or there's the accidental this near miss thing. They timed that out so well to show everyone, oh, look, we're not good at this. But if you really watch it, how difficult that was what they just did.
Yeah.
Man, I thought this was just as good to me as the match before, in the sense of how all four of them incredibly talented and trying to I don't want to talk too much about this because we got other stuff to get to. It's almost like in musical theater where someone has to be a bad singer even though they've been trained to sing since they were 4, and no matter what they'll be perfect. But now it's, hey, go out and sing badly for this character, and they got to find a way to make it awful and boring.
Right.
This was so much fun to me. I had a lot of fun watching this and seeing them kind of struggle. The ending and the payoff we kind of got. Okay.
We can get to that in a second, because Mikey, I did want to ask you also, do you feel like the Gates of Agony were the right people to feed to them in this point, or?
Yeah, I say so. Only even if the fact that they are vaguely still tied with Swerve, because Swerve and Mogul Embassy and all them were that whole faction before they turned on Swerve. I will say, as someone who wants to use the platform for good, I really loved the Gates of Agony's entrance. Looks like I'm just like, I love it when wrestlers are able to incorporate their actual cultures and traditions into their wrestling garb, which was fantastic. Swerve continues to prove to me that he is that dude. Like, when he, what was it, either through or over into the Swerve stomp on the outside, just like, going to the top to do that. He literally just used forward momentum to do the Swerve stomp.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with him and Ospreay hitting their finishers to both, get the win for the team. And I'm just like, I love the match. I loved the ending afterwards a little bit when we get to it.
Ospreay stealing Swerve's title and almost going to hit it, and Swerve just turning on him.
Ospreay sold that so well. I legit thought, I was like, I think Swerve actually may have knocked this man unconscious.
He went to the Mariah May School of Selling.
Well, and not to, again, I don't want to talk too much because we're up against it. I don't want this to be longer. There's the selling that American wrestlers do is sort of that, ow, you hurt me. The selling that Japanese wrestlers do is sort of, you've knocked the soul out of my body. The selling that comes from Australia and the UK is, I am now dead. There's this sort of boom, boom, and they go limp, and they're just Drew McIntyre, amazing at this. Just they're a puddle now, and they wait long enough to where you're uncomfortable, and then they snap out of it.
It's almost a video game selling at that point, which is even better.
Sure.
They just glitch out.
Yeah.
But overall, this was a very packed Dynamite going into Forbidden Door, the kind of go-home Dynamite before the collision. I got to get your empanada ratings from both of you, what you felt about this, and just in general, like, would you, or do you feel like you've been filled up for Forbidden Door, ready to go? We'll go with Professor first, and we'll get Mikey there. So.
Okay, I waited for you to say Professor or Mikey because I keep jumping over it, so I apologize in the end.
I figure you're going first anyway, so I was just going to make you go first.
Okay. This is finally a go-home show that landed on Dynamite that was a go-home show. We've had, I don't know, 2 or 3 in a row where it was sort of like, let's mail it in. Yay! Like, no. Partly because it's Forbidden Door season and you have all this talent to pull from. Not to rehash all the things. This landed 8.5 for me. This was solid. It would have been closer to 9 if we didn't have our designated silo block of women's wrestling. If we'd peppered that in some, if we had a little bit more there. I think Mercedes Moné could have carried a little more, and I think she's struggling, and I don't want to hold that against her, but
Then give us Stat and Willow something. I get you.
sure, we saw 2 different murders in 2 hours worth of time. We saw one of the better tactical matches we've had in months show up on here. I love the cast of characters we have going into it. Crowd aside, I know who they are. I can do the research on who's coming, so I'm excited about it. I think it was great for a go-home show.
Mikey?
I enjoyed this Go Home Dynamite. I think this was one of the better Go Home Dynamites so far this year, leading into any of their pay-per-views. I want to preface by I did enjoy a lot of it, but the writing, this was a poorly written show in a lot of in certain aspects. Like, I have to knock it points for that because
You could say that every week, though.
yes, but here's the thing, Professor. My eyes are always going to be given what they want because I love the in-ring stuff is always solid. But I'm at a point where do we continue to give that pass to AEW? The in-ring and the wrestling's always going to be phenomenal. That's never questionable to me. But you are in a professional wrestling entertainment portion. The problem that I have with AEW is that they do cycle storylines where you get stories for these matches leading into pay-per-views, and then we throw them to the side and then we restart. They do a lot of short-term, but not a lot of long-term. And I know a lot of people don't like that word and view it as dirty, but for me, to what point, as you know, the integrity of reviews and hosts that we are that review this product as objectively as we can, how much longer do we give them a pass to give us long-term storytelling?
Well, I don't know. We're in year 6.
Yeah, we are.
But either way, Mikey, for this one specifically, also because you have such a big pay-per-view coming up, obviously the writing needs to be somewhat crisp, and it wasn't for you.
Well, on top of that too, I get you can't show everything because you have a Rampage and you have a Collision that is going to finish off what else needs to be made.
Phrasing.
But I still enjoyed this Dynamite. Don't get me wrong. It's just the writing and the storytelling needs to be tightened up a little bit because now you're competing against other promotions who are kind of kicking it into gear. And we have a month after Forbidden Door until the next AEW pay-per-view. So now is that prime time. Be like, I want this summer to be where AEW takes over once again and kind of is crazy. But if you do not do that, then the competition is going to steamroll you. And I'm probably going to be talking about other summer pay-per-views and not the Wembley show. But with all that being said, I give this a strong 7.5 empanadas out of 10 for me. I still thought it was a solid show.
And I'm going to sit here at 8. It's a good right in the middle there for all the same reasons. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure to get to Forbidden Door with you. I'm so glad we could spend this time together, which hasn't happened in a while. Thank you to Mikey. Thank you to the Professor. Thank you to all of you for joining us out there. And give us your thoughts down there in the comments. What do you think's going to happen there? Who's going to be the Hangman Page wild card? Whatever is going to happen. But overall, whether you do that, support us, do anything else, just remember that the one thing we ask you to do here at the Biconics Wrestling Podcast, and that's to stay Biconic. And we'll see you in the next video.
Can Goldberg ride a horse? Push the button, out comes orange juice. Push the button, up the
This
elevator.
sounds like a Red Dwarf episode. This doesn't sound like a musical.
Absolutely does. But it's a real
Please
song.
put your order in fish. Today's fish is trout a la creme. Enjoy your meal.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.